When you beat a team by 38-0 in the NFL, even in the preseason, it's not just a win, it's a statement. And that's exactly what the Chicago Bears delivered against the Buffalo Bills in their second preseason game. Dominance in every phase, energy from the jump, and most importantly, signs that this new era with Caleb Williams might actually be the real deal. Now, let's be honest, it's preseason. No one's hoisting a trophy for these games. But when your rookie quarterback comes out looking that polished and your depth shines the way it did, fans have every reason to be fired up. Let's start where everyone is looking, Caleb Williams. All eyes were on a number 1 overall pick, and in his debut, he showed flashes of everything that made him such a hype prospect. Forget the stat sheet for a second. What really stood out was the operation. Clean pre-snap control. No panic. No delay of game penalties. No confusion at the line. Just calm, composed execution. That's rare for a rookie in his first real NFL environment. Even if it's just preseason. Williams came out and led a touchdown drive on his very first series. Think about that. The Bears struggle mightily to get early points all last season, and here comes this rookie stepping in and immediately changing the tone. His decision-making was solid. Out of his 4 incompletions, 3 were basically unavoidable. A screen that got blown up and had to be ditched, a play where the pass rush crashed in and forced him to throw low to avoid the sack, and a ball he dropped at the feet of his target with no real shot at a completion. The one you could maybe question was a check down that could have been better placed, but even that was minimal. His throws? Crisp, confident. The seam route to Cole Kmet for 29 yards was on a rope. The anticipation on the out route to DJ Moore was next-level stuff, especially for a guy in his first NFL game. Then there was that crosser on 2nd and 16 that he converted. That's not just execution, that's poise. That's knowing the situation and delivering. It's also worth shouting out the play calling from Ben Johnson. He kept things balanced, gave Caleb clean reads, and didn't try to get too fancy. He gave him a structure to succeed, and Caleb took advantage. The offense wasn't just functioning, it had rhythm. It had life. And for a Bears team that's been dying for that kind of quarterback play, even in a small sample, it was incredibly refreshing. And look, it wasn't just Caleb. Tyson Bagent came in and did what a good backup is supposed to do. He started off hot, hitting 8 of his first 10 throws and finishing the day with nearly 200 yards and a touchdown. He's calm in the pocket, he's got underrated mobility, and he's not afraid to take a shot when it's there. On 1 4th down, he avoided pressure, stepped up, and delivered a dart over the top to keep the drive alive. That's the kind of stuff you love to see from a guy trying to cement his place as the number 2. It really feels like he's secure that spot, especially with Case Keenum out injured. Bagent's upside is clear, and while he's not pushing for the starting role, there's confidence he could step in and manage things if needed. There's also something cooking between Bagent and Luther Burden. That connection looked smooth, and it's the kind of chemistry that matters as we get closer to the regular season. Speaking of receivers, you have to talk about Olamide Zaccheaus. 1 target, 1 catch, 1 massive play, a short slant that he turned into a 36-yard touchdown. That's what we've been hearing about all camp. Yards after the catch, explosiveness, and playmaking. And he showed it. He's done it before, too. Took a 20-yard pass 70 yards against the Dolphins. Took another short route in practice against the Bills and went 40-plus for a score. This isn't a fluke. Zaccheaus is carving out a real role in this offense. He's explosive, he's reliable, and he's going to be one of those players that defenses underestimate and regret it. The depth at wide receiver is sneaky good. After DJ Moore and Darnell Mooney, you've got Zaccheaus, Luther Burden, and then the tight ends, Cole Kmet and Colston Loveland. And Loveland? That dude is making some serious noise. On 2nd and 16, Caleb found him for a big gain. He's got size, he's got hands, and he knows how to find space. It's a great mix of youth and experience in the pass-catching group. And for a quarterback like Caleb Williams, it's the kind of supporting cast that can make all the difference. Now, flipping to the defensive side, Austin Booker continues to stand out. He wasn't quite as dominant as the first week, but once again, he found his way to the quarterback. A sack, a quarterback hit, a couple of tackles, and pressure that impacted plays even when he didn't get the stat. That's consistency. That's a young pass rusher trending in the right direction. Unfortunately, he did leave the game with a knee injury on special teams, which is frustrating. You never want to see a guy with real potential get dinged up in kickoff coverage, especially in a game that's already out of hand. The team didn't have a clear update after the game, so fingers crossed it's nothing serious. If Booker can stay healthy, he's going to be in that rotation all season long. And don't forget about Cole Kmet. It almost feels like he's become the forgotten man with all the new weapons in town, but he reminded everyone that he's still got it. That 29-yard seam catch early in the game, perfect route, perfect ball, perfect catch. Kmet is still one of the more complete tight ends in the league. Good blocker, reliable hands, and he can stretch the field when called upon. He's not flashy, but he's effective, and that matters. Now, when you win a game 38-0, it's tough to point out many losers, but if we're being fair, there were a few minor letdowns. First, Roman O'Duns. He had only one target, and while Caleb took accountability after the game for the protection call and the throw, that's still a ball a top 10 pick has to catch. It hit him in the hands, and for a guy of his talent, that's a drop. Does it change how high the team is on him? Not all. He's been fantastic in camp and looks ready to contribute. But in a game, 3rd and 5, those plays matter. In a tight regular season matchup, that drop could be the difference between extending a drive or punting it away. It's a learning moment, one of those reps you hope he gets again and converts. Braxton Jones is another one to keep an eye on. He had some good moments, but he also got beat again on an inside move. That's 2 weeks in a row. And while Caleb made a great throw to DJ Moore to cover it up, you can't keep getting beat inside, especially not by backup pass rushers. Head coach Ben Johnson said after the game that they're seeing flashes of the old Braxton, but he's not there yet. Could be the ankle, could be rust, but the consistency isn't quite there. He's still in the mix, but the staff will definitely be evaluating that spot more closely. All in all, it was a night of positivity for the Bears. Young players stepping up. The franchise quarterback showing flashes of brilliance. A defense that brought the energy. And a team that, for once, didn't just talk about changing the culture, they showed it on the field. One thing that cannot be ignored is the level of confidence and intensity the Bears played with from the first snap to the final whistle. This was not the type of performance where one side of the ball carried the other or where one big play masked a sloppy effort. It was a complete team performance. Clean execution, minimal penalties, guys knowing their assignments, and everyone playing fast. That's the kind of environment coaching staffs dream of building in training camp. And it's incredibly rare to see it come together so early, especially with a rookie quarterback under center. But that's the exact kind of tone the Bears set on that field. And that's what makes this result more than just a blowout win. It feels like a glimpse of something bigger building in Chicago. The defense deserves just as much attention as the offense. Shutting out any team in the NFL, preseason or not, is never something you take for granted. The unit was flying around, playing with urgency, and showing that this defensive staff has these players locked in. The front seven, in particular, came with a purpose. The pass rush was active, the linebackers were filling gaps with authority, and the secondary didn't allow anything cheap over the top. That kind of discipline is what separates good teams from average ones, even in the games that don't count in the standings. The depth guys didn't just hold the line when they came in, they kept the pressure going, and in some cases, they raised the level of play even more. One player that stood out on multiple occasions was Terrell Smith, who unfortunately was mentioned after the game due to injury concerns. Head coach Ben Johnson offered thoughts and prayers for Smith, which usually doesn't come out of nowhere. That tells you the team is genuinely concerned about the severity of it. That would be a tough blow for the secondary, as Smith was carving out a real role for himself, not just on defense, but on special teams as well. His development this offseason had been impressive, and losing a guy like that can shake up the depth chart. Fingers crossed it's not serious, but the reality of the NFL is always right around the corner, and health is the one thing that can derail even the most promising unit. And while the defense played lights out as a whole, there's also something to be said about how much pressure they generated with their front four alone. That's been a major point of emphasis all offseason, getting home with 4, not having to constantly blitz to manufacture disruption. In this game, you saw flashes of that vision. Whether it was Austin Booker collapsing the pocket, interior guys creating pressure up the middle, or even edge players forcing the quarterback off his spot, it looked the way a modern defense is supposed to. You want to be able to send extra defenders when you want to, not because you have to. That's how you build a sustainable pass rush, and this group looks like it's getting there. Another standout moment came from the special teams unit, which often gets overlooked unless something goes wrong. But in this game, they brought energy. The coverage units were tight, the returns were smart, and even the kicking operation looked fluid. Those hidden yards matter, especially when you're trying to set the tone for a new identity. When your special teams are locked in, it's a sign that the entire roster is bought in, top to bottom. That's how good teams are built. Not just with superstars, but with depth players who do their jobs with intensity and pride. That was on full display here. And speaking of depth, that's where this roster is quietly starting to shine. For years, the Bears have been a team that could hang in games when their starters were healthy, but everything fell apart once they had to go to the second unit. That doesn't appear to be the case anymore. From the backup quarterbacks to the wide receiver depth to the rotation on the defensive line, this roster has layers. And when the inevitable injuries hit during the grind of the regular season, it's these August performances that you look back on and realize who earned their spot. One of the most encouraging signs is how quickly this team has responded to the new coaching staff. Ben Johnson isn't just bringing a new playbook. He's bringing a whole new approach. Accountability, physicality, simplicity in execution. And the players are responding. There's a sense of structure in place now, where every player understands their role and everyone is held to a standard. When a team wins a game like this, you always ask yourself, is it just a fluke, or is it the product of real, tangible progress? With the Bears, it's starting to feel like the latter. Take, for example, the offensive line. We mentioned Braxton Jones earlier and his struggles on one particular play, but overall, the unit held up well. They gave Caleb time. They kept the pocket clean for Bajent. They opened running lanes for the backs. And they did it all while showing versatility. Different combinations, different personnel groupings, and still no breakdowns. That's rare in a preseason game, and it shows that the competition in practice is pushing everyone forward. That group isn't just trying to survive, they're starting to gel. The run game also looked efficient, not explosive but effective. With some of the top backs resting, it gave guys like Britton Brown and Ian Wheeler a chance to shine, and they did exactly that. They ran with purpose, hit the holes hard, and didn't dance in the backfield. That kind of north-south running fits exactly what this offense wants to be. Even if they don't end up making the final roster, they're putting good tape out there and pushing everyone else in the room to stay sharp. Let's also circle back to the chemistry forming between Caleb Williams and his weapons. That's one of the most important aspects of any rookie quarterback's development, getting in sync with your targets. And even though the sample size is small, the signs are there. DJ Moore looks like his go-to guy. KMET is already a security blanket. And there are multiple players who could take a short catch and turn it into a big gain. That means Caleb won't have to force anything. He can just play within the offense, trust his reads, and distribute the ball to playmakers. That's exactly the setup you want for a young quarterback to grow into the position instead of being thrown into chaos. Before we continue, don't forget to subscribe to our channel and give this video a like. Your support helps us keep bringing you the latest updates on our Chicago Bears. And don't be shy. Drop your thoughts on the news in the comments below. Michael Onwenu, the powerhouse offensive lineman, has officially arrived in Chicago, and the atmosphere around the Bears headquarters has been electric. Rumors have been swirling for weeks about the team's intent to bolster its offensive line, and Onwenu's arrival seems to confirm the speculation that the Bears are serious about building a dominant front. Reports from sources close to the team suggest that Onwenu was greeted by a flurry of media personnel, teammates, and fans eager to catch a glimpse of the new addition. The excitement surrounding him is not just about his size or strength, but also about his reputation for versatility and relentless effort on the field. Inside the locker room, whispers have it that veterans are already strategizing how to integrate his skills into the existing lineup, considering his unique ability to play multiple positions along the offensive line. Fans outside the facility were seen waving banners and chanting, creating a festival-like environment that made the arrival feel like a celebratory event rather than a routine signing. Analysts are already dissecting how his presence might influence the Bears' offensive schemes, particularly with regard to protecting the quarterback and opening running lanes. The sense of anticipation is palpable, and the rumor mill is working overtime with speculation about potential trades or acquisitions that might accompany this marquee signing. With every detail from his introductory press conference, the narrative surrounding Michael Onwenu continues to grow, and the buzz is unmistakable across social media platforms, sports talk shows, and local Chicago news outlets. As Michael Onwenu steps onto the practice field, insiders suggest that the Bears are planning a series of adjustments to maximize his impact, and the team's coaching staff is reportedly ecstatic about the possibilities he brings. While the public face of the arrival has been filled with celebration, behind closed doors, coaches are already discussing line combinations and playbooks tailored to his strengths. Rumors suggest that Onwenu's conditioning regimen and previous performance in high-pressure games have been a critical factor in Chicago's aggressive pursuit, indicating that the organization views him as a foundational piece rather than a temporary addition. There's talk among reporters that his arrival could spark a domino effect of roster moves, with speculation about younger linemen either benefiting from his mentorship or potentially being shifted to accommodate his presence. The locker room chatter, captured by insiders, hints at players expressing excitement over his physicality and leadership qualities, with some even suggesting that his aura could elevate overall morale. Fans online have already begun crafting hypothetical scenarios of games where Onwenu's presence drastically alters outcomes, fueling an ongoing discussion on sports forums and social media channels. Analysts are dissecting past game footage, comparing defensive lines he's faced, and projecting how those experiences will translate to the Bears' matchups in the upcoming season. The combination of anticipation, speculation, and strategic planning ensures that his arrival is more than just a news item. It's a catalyst for a whirlwind of sports discourse in Chicago and beyond, leaving everyone eager to witness the first snap he takes in a Bears uniform. Inside the Chicago Bears organization, whispers about Michael Onwenu's arrival suggest that his influence extends far beyond the field, and the dynamics of team culture may be experiencing a subtle but significant shift. Sources indicate that locker room interactions have taken on a more energetic tone, with teammates eager to impress and align themselves with a player who carries both skill and notoriety. Coaches, according to insiders, are reportedly considering altering their offensive strategy to fully capitalize on Onwenu's versatility, and rumors point to him being involved in film study sessions that are more detailed than usual for new acquisitions. The city itself appears caught up in the excitement, with fan gatherings outside practice facilities growing in number, reflecting a community eager to witness firsthand the impact of a player whose reputation precedes him. Conversations among sports commentators hint at a broader narrative, suggesting that Onwenu's arrival could mark the beginning of a more aggressive approach to roster construction, potentially influencing not only current players but also upcoming draft decisions. The murmurs in local media have sparked a lively debate among analysts regarding how his unique skill set will integrate with the existing offensive line and whether his presence could serve as a catalyst for future acquisitions or trades. In fan forums, speculation runs rampant about the potential leadership role he might assume, with some suggesting he could mentor younger players or act as a stabilizing force during high-pressure games. The buzz surrounding his debut is feeding into a growing sense of expectation, creating a storyline that blends rumor, anticipation, and genuine excitement as the city braces for the tangible impact of Michael Onwenu on the Chicago Bears. Outside the stadium and throughout Chicago, the arrival of Michael Onwenu is generating a wave of social media excitement and spontaneous gatherings that signal an almost festival-like reception for the offensive lineman, and insiders are suggesting that this energy could influence the team's performance in subtle ways. Observers note that fan interactions and public displays of enthusiasm are not only a show of support, but also a reflection of the city's hunger for renewed success on the field, and Onwenu's presence appears to symbolize a commitment to a more dominant, physically imposing team. Rumors from people close to the organization hint at private meetings where coaches and veteran players are considering how to leverage Onwenu's skills in high-stakes situations, including third-down conversions and red zone plays, suggesting that his influence will extend into tactical areas traditionally reserved for more experienced line coaches. Conversations in sports media speculate that his acquisition could attract further high-profile signings or trade discussions, with the notion that the Bears are entering a period of aggressive roster optimization. That's it for this update. If you enjoyed the video and want to stay updated with exclusive news about our Chicago Bears, be sure to subscribe to our channel and hit that like button. We can't wait to hear your thoughts in the comments. See you in the next video.